Hello everybody, how you doing? Praise the sun up here. My name is Michael and we now continue our playthrough of Dark Souls 2. I'm back in the Iron Keep and I'm still using the Claymore and the Mirage Shield, but I switched over to the Bandit set and the Ninja Mask because the enemies that we're fighting are sort of samurai-like. You can get a look at them. They are known as Alon Knights, and Sir Alon is a very important figure in the myths of Dark Souls 2, although we don't really learn very much about him until the DLC, the Old Iron King DLC. These guys use katanas. I did not get one as a drop. They also drop their items, their armor, very regularly, so it's great armor, high fire resistance, because as you can see, this is a castle full of lava. Now, I'm not actually crazy about the look of this area. I mean, it does look okay, I suppose, but it was described by Yahtzee Croshaw, Zero Punctuation, as a bit of too video gamey, and that's absolutely right. This area does look a little bit too much like it was designed to be a video game level, not a... The areas in Dark Souls 1, especially Undead Parish and Anne Orlando, looked like they were places that someone could actually live in. You know, they were homes in many ways. And you don't really get that atmosphere here, unfortunately. For instance, a lot of this area, it took me a while to figure this out, but it just looks like someone designed this so it could have horrendous lava in it. But we learn later that this was a normal castle that later sank into the ground and was subsumed by lava. But it just feels as if they built it in order to have... in order to, navigate around the lava. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Unfortunately, we'll not be fighting animals like that. The only enemies in this area are the Alon Knights and some more Turtle Knights. You'll notice that I have 397 arrows. I stocked up. I'm just going to be using the basic short bow. I did not upgrade it. I only have basic stats for use with it. However, we're still going to be able to get quite a bit of damage on some of the enemies in this area. We're going to essentially need to use that in some places. These enemies sort of look a bit anachronistic to me, wearing the full, heavy European metal armor, but wielding katanas. When we actually find Sir Alon in the DLC, he actually looks much more samurai-like, although we still don't, and we actually get samurai armor in from Sir, if we defeat Sir Alon in the DLC, but tragically, that is the first time that we can get that in Dark Souls 2. I mean, in the Souls series in general. You can use katanas throughout all of them, but that's the first time we get any kind of samurai-type armor. And if you look out there, that's actually the end area. That's where we fight the boss, that little house there, just in front of there. And that thing, if you can see it, is a giant minotaur, and that is known as Aigil or Aigil's idol. And it's some sort of strange minotaur-like idol. Unfortunately, there are no minotaurs in any part of this game, which is pretty tragic. They would have been a more unique enemy, I think, than the random armored knights that we're going to be fighting. This guy is Magarold of Lanafir. He has a kind of silly little accent. He's got a dopey little derpy. That might be the traveling merchant set at the start, and this is the person that you can use the incense on, or the spices on. It's called incense here, which is a bit odd. I don't know why they do that, but you can lower the attributes for various spells. I don't know why pyromancy shows up here, because there are no attributes. You need to use that, but the other ones, the hexes, the sorceries, the miracles, you can all lower them by one, with each piece of spice. You can farm spice in certain areas, but it's a little bit difficult to get large amounts of. This armor here is Jester Thomas's armor, and you basically look like a medieval jester, or fop, or whatever you want to call it. I guess fops were later. This is very important, this cap, because as you see, it raises item discovery. That is very, very useful. And you can wear that, and it looks sort of ridiculous. This is very, very useful, because as you can say, effect nullifies foes' critical hits. What that does means you cannot be backstabbed. Yeah, now it does have fairly low defense at 66, but not being able to be backstabbed means a huge amount in PvP. It is vital for some characters to get this PvP, but I never wear it for PvP because I think it is cheap. The other things, increased number of souls acquired, reduce falling damage. All of the pieces have a use. Yeah, reducing falling damage thing is kind of neat, but you can get other items to do that. And this is the starting armor for the bandit. It looks just as ridiculous as I thought it would. It's completely ludicrous, although this helmet does look a little silly. Curse Bite Ring increase curse resistance. If you are being cursed, you need to get away from what is cursing you. Resistance to curse is irrelevant. Curse will take away your maximum health. You don't want that to happen. If you're being cursed, get away from what's cursing you, not buy this stupid ring. It's worthless. You can buy some random stuff here, including a human effigy, green blossoms, unlimited black fire bombs, and charcoal pine resin. Only one repair powder, kind of cheap, rusted coin, and these carvings, which are tragically, and you can buy a fragrant branch of yore if you want one. These carvings are pretty neat. Which one am I going to get? This one. Fine craftsmanship of these faces evident even after much aging, but no one even knows the name of the artist. Yeah, that's kind of a joke, because we do know the name of the artist. He was a character in the Dark Souls 1 DLC, who was a giant, and one of the great characters of Dark Souls 1, who had a voice much like this. And you can use that an infinite number of times, that hello. I don't want to spoil too much of him if you haven't played DS1, but he's one of the coolest characters in the game and in the mythology. And it's kind of a shame that they're 2,000 souls apiece, because in Dark Souls 1 they were literally like 10 souls apiece. But, well, you can also, again, randomly buy spells. Why can you buy spells from someone that is not a spell user? This baffles me. I do not like it. It makes it seem kind of dumb. I guess you can get it if you want to, you know, use the incense on them, or maybe you just don't like Carillion. I don't know if Carillion sells fall control. This is probably the best way to mitigate fall damage in the game, so it makes it, you know, a piece of cake to go down that pit in Majula, but maybe he does sell it, I don't remember. And Dark Hail and Dark Storm are hexes. I mean, why does he have this? I like how he's nice about that. He just says, no pressure. Oh, I didn't notice that silly little smile on his face. He almost looks like the man who laughed, with this weird carved smile put onto his face. But anyway, what's he got there? Is it like a stick or something? Is that part of his armor? No, it's part of his armor. There's a bird on the arm of his armor. I never noticed that before. Is that on the Traveling Merchant set? God, that's ridiculous. Well, anyway, Magarold is part of yet another ridiculous aspect of this game that we already mentioned before about the rings. This is the second place where we can discover a ring where it is, you know, earlier on in the level we can get the +1, the advanced version of the ring, before we find the regular version of the ring. If we buy enough stuff from him, which we will later on once we get some more souls from killing these dudes, we're going to be able to purchase the covetous gold serpent ring, which is a very, very important item because it raises item drop discovery. So if you want to farm items, it's vital to get that. But let's go take care of this guy up here. These guys are obviously very fast because they're using katanas, so it can be very difficult to parry them. And if you're using a big, slow weapon, it can be a little bit challenging, but you probably shouldn't have too much trouble with them. It's just that there is a lot of them. A ferrous lockstone. If you roll in this, you will get covered in water, which will briefly mitigate your fire damage, but not by a heck of a lot. And if we go over here, we can find a hidden door. This probably mentions it. Yes, it is. Do not go up this way. This is leading to a gank of, I believe, 3 of those Alon Knights, and it can be very tricky. And right after this, we have yet another illusory door. This seems poorly designed. Why do we have a second one right after this one? It doesn't make a lot of sense. And yes, and we have a ballista behind us. And we also have 20 fire arrows? 20 fire arrows. And when I open that door, the illusory door, I will run back here, press green, and start up the ballista, and fire on one of the guys out there. And hilariously, he will take an arrow to the face. Ha 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 ha. Now there's 3 guys in this room, so I'm not going to go out and fight them all together. Especially because this guy has a bow. A bow that we did not discuss yet. It is a great bow, but we will discuss it after we kill these guys. The guy behind him probably is going to aggro soon. There he is. But he is a man who wants to do some melee. Unlike me, because I want to cheese at range too. Item drop in these guys is incredible, and we're going to be killing so many of these guys, and they drop a considerable amount of souls. This is an incredible area to come to level up. One of the few areas where I would recommend leveling up. Usually you don't want to level up in the souls, farm for souls in these games. You really just want to go and defeat the boss and get good at getting to the boss. Ooh, we have the armor. But I want this armor right now. And here we have the main area, and this just screams video game zone. It doesn't really look like it is a place where someone could live, you know? That is a titanic forge there, because the Iron King was all about that iron, and steel, probably. And once again, we hear yet another story of pride and vanity, of someone who has gone too far and decided to go completely out of his head, because of arrogance and greed and jealousy, and just decide to insanely go over the edge and be punished for his vanity. And to our right, we will see a Lone Knight captain, who have different armor and helmet, but the leggings and gauntlets are all the same. And he's wielding a great bow. Just take a look at it there. A great bow is a gigantic weapon that looks a lot more, if you'll see the, well, it didn't stick in me. Alright, I'll just try to look at it as it comes. What they shoot is not really an arrow. It's more of a gigantic harpoon-sized bolt. It's like the size of a spear or a sword that it shoots at you. And it is a gigantic weapon. It really reminds me more of a gastrophides or some kind of belly bow, like a siege weapon almost. It's so huge and really impractical to ever use that in real life. That sort of thing doesn't quite exist, what he has there. And we're going to be taking him out, I guess, with poison arrows. You can get that as a drop pretty easily. Great bows are not terribly useful in PvE, but they can be useful in PvP, because you can knock people off ledges. Like if someone was standing here and you were over there, you could knock them off the edge in PvP with a great bow. They're very, very slow and strength-based bows, and I tend not to use them, but they are popular for PvP, like I said. There are a couple of different great bows in the game. And we're going to aggro that guy that's on that ledge there. Sometimes he'll just fall off the ledge if he's feeling especially stupid that day. But today, he seems to be a little smart. Come on, what are you doing? Alright here. Hey, whoa. Come on, over here or not? Pick one. Thank you. Famously in Dark Souls 1, there is an area that is one of those great trying moments. One of those moments in life or in a video game or whatever you're doing that really binds people together by the shared challenge. And that area is known as the Two Archers of Anor Londo. And in that area, there is a horrifying, and I mean horrifying, situation where you have 2 knights with great bows firing on you as you're trying to cross a ledge. And it is one of the most terrifying moments in all of video games, and it still worries me, even though I've gone through the game dozens of times. There are 2 guys with great bows here, that one I just killed, and one way over there. You may not be able to see him. Well, I can kind of see him, but only because I know exactly where he is. Right there, you see, just behind the pillar. And those guys can hammer you with those great bows, but it's not like in Dark Souls 1 where it is a nightmarish situation. go down here and immediately go right, so you do not get hit by the harpoon. There's another guy. He is dead. We're going to need to pull that lever, but do not do it just yet. I'm going to go up here. You can just jump over that ledge and land down there, but I'm not going to bother, just in case I die. So I'm going to put the cat ring on for a second and jump down. This is odd. Why can't we get on the ladder from here? Why do we have to go down? That doesn't make a tremendous amount of sense. Okie dokie. I am just going to run up there and kill that guy. He said as if it was no challenge at all and he had no risk of death. But I do have a risk of death. Really, I do. I'm going to pop up there and try to take this guy down. Oh, I could have backstabbed him. I hadn't even thought of that. I assumed he was going to be looking... Yeah, you see, it's so difficult to aim that thing. But he was pointed way over there when I was over here. With the speed enemies move in this game, it's very difficult to use that against them. Oh, the life ring plus 1 and the twinkling titan. Yeah, raises maximum HP. Not that useful. Although maybe there's a use for a life ring a little bit later on in this level. I know this is cheap, but I would recommend just cheesing this guy with arrows. I mean, come on. He's waiting to gank you on a bridge. And whatever you do when you go over there, you see these things over here, that with the smoke coming out of them, these chimneys? Do not swing your weapon near them and hit them, because this might happen. They actually explode and can kill you or knock you off the edge. And that's obviously not something you want. And also with that guy there, it just seems way too difficult not to bother cheesing it up. You know, being Sir Fromage, Knight of Cheese, as I am now. There's also another one of these guys there, who I guess we can take out now. But I'm going to wait until later. And let's go over and pull that lever. This is not going to turn the fire off. Do not open this door. That's probably what it says. Yes, it is. I did not do this on my first playthrough, thankfully, because I saw that fire coming out of it and I got really scared. That is not going to turn the fire off. That just lowers part of this bridge. And we have another guy with a great bow across at the other end of the bridge. That's where we are going to be moving speedily and jumping off the edge of the bridge and finding him down there. Fortunately, I think we can backstab him. If you time it wrong, he can shoot the arrow all the way up there, and he will switch to his sword by the time you get here, and you can't really backstab him. Monastery Charm. I think that just cures poison. That's another one of those weird, useless items that you don't really need. Yeah, cures poison. It's a combination poison cure and HP cure. We're going to go down here and finally turn off that fire, but first lower the other side of the bridge. And then don't go down there for that chest down there just yet. And now we can turn off the fire. In New Game Plus, this is a serious trap because there are 2 Red Phantom Knights in here, but now there are not. You can just pop right in there. And get, I believe, 2 large Titanite shards, maybe? Or is it just 1? Oh, it's 2, and some petrified dragon bone. Good. That's where the fire was coming down, this weird nozzle, I guess? I really don't know what this place was meant for. I guess it is, like I said, a forge, but a walk-in forge? That's a little peculiar. And now, we're trying to attempt, and this involves jumping, so, again, get ready for death. If that happens, it happens. You know, just let it happen. Okay. Wait, it actually involves 2 jumps, and then a jump back, so they're really trying to get you coming and going here. In fact, I might just put on the Ring of Life Protection. Jesus, what is wrong with me? The Ring of Life Protection. This jump, by the way, is much more serious in the, what is it called? Oh, I forgot to get that drop there. I'll get it later. In the, in New Game Plus, because there is a Red Phantom guy in there, and he can kill you as soon as you jump across there. So that isn't very fun, and you have to cheese him with arrows across here. We made it! And we can get the Zweihander. Yeah, a lot of people were ears perked up at that, didn't they? Let me take a look at that in a second. I hope I live, please. Oh, fuck me. God damn it. Finally. Finally, we're back. It took a little while, but I made that jump. And there we have the dull Ember. I feel especially dull-witted for failing that jump and having to go back. But oh well. That's life sometimes. And I hate the jumping in this game. Just let us fucking jump. That is the only place, as I've said, where there is artificial difficulty in Dark Souls. Now, let us take a look here. We'll see if, yes we do, have this Y-hander, and I can use it one-handed. This is one of the best weapons in Dark Souls 2, and it's actually great in Dark Souls 1 as well. It's great in both of the games. You also get something called a Great Sword in Demon Souls, and it's pretty much the same thing as this Y-hander. I think it actually is best in Dark Souls 2 because it has an amazing thrust. It also has better scaling. Unfortunately, this weapon does not have good scaling compared to the Great Sword or the Great Club, which have, I think, S scalings eventually in strength. This only goes up to a B, and that's only at the very highest level. So, especially because this is slower than those two weapons, you're not really going to get the damage out of it, and that moveset is not as good as the other ones are. This thing is kind of a troll move. There's no point to doing this unless you are trying to get an item down there in those flaming rocks, which is very, very difficult to do. I would recommend not doing that. Let's head down here, and Lord, I hope I make this jump. Should I homeward bone back? No, I'm not going to do that. Okay. This area right here is the Smelter Demon boss, and this boss is notorious for being probably the hardest in all of Dark Souls 2. He is incredibly difficult, and he was much more difficult when the game started out. He was absolutely brutal when the game began. He was painful, difficult, and he was actually glitched to the point where it was very difficult just to not die on the wall, because you can actually get stuck on the wall of that level, and he could kill you like that, and you couldn't move. And it was really frustrating. Thank the Lord it was fixed in a patch, because if it hadn't been, I may have given up fighting him. It was ridiculous. And even with that patch, he's still a pretty brutal enemy. He's still pretty damn hard to fight, because he is a giant armored enemy, and he has ridiculous hitboxes. The hitboxes have been fixed a little bit, but his hitboxes still extend far beyond his arm or his sword. And not only that, he is on fire, so getting near him is going to make you take damage. And to be honest, the reward for killing him is not magnificent. It's not anything to write home about, to be honest. I'm going to try to kill this guy here, and then probably go talk to Magarold of Lanithir and see if we can get the covetous gold serpent ring +1. And then we'll go and fight some more of the Turtle Knights. Now, the Turtle Knights we're going to fight there are not called Old Ironclads. These are just the regular Ironclads. And their armor is actually a little bit better than the old Ironclad armor you can get in the Forest of Fallen Giants. But it's still the same turtle armor, just with somewhat better stats. And it looks a little shinier and less rusty. Something also contributing to this being sort of a video gamey level, excuse me, is the fact that there are turtle guards, you know, sort of like in Super Mario Brothers. And that just makes it seem kind of silly. I know I'm cheesing this guy, but, come on. I'm not fighting him there. Alright. Let's head over and see what Magarold of Lanithir has to say. And maybe, look what we've got. 39,000 souls. That was only from 2 trips through. That is really impressive, that we got that many. So I think we started out with some. But still, that's really impressive for only a tiny number of times through here. I forget how much we have to give him to get this. So get that. Maybe some repair powder. Let's talk to him. Nope, not yet. Let's get a few more of these. Well, maybe I can grab the... Meh, I'm gonna get more of the carvings. How does that happen? How do you make a castle so heavy it sinks into lava? I mean, maybe if it sank into the primordial chaos, but I don't think the primordial chaos was here. It was in another kingdom that we find out about. I'm sorry. Very good. I'll go for very good. There we go. We got it. And the covetous gold serpent ring there is, like I said, one of the most important rings in the game because it will cause us to, will cause enemies to drop items more rarely. We can't get that item just yet until we turn off that fire, which happens considerably later on in the level, right before the boss of this area, the Old Iron King. I grew especially enraged with this area when I discovered, of course, that this boss here, the Smelter Demon, is not only not the boss of the area, he is totally optional. I just, it's pretty much my own fault because I was just beating my head against it again and again. I wanted to defeat this boss. I just got stuck in a cycle, and I felt I had to do it. And there's almost no reward. His armor that you get, I think, looks pretty stupid. It looks like you have a big anus on your face when you get it. And, yeah. It really, I mean, you do have cloven hooves, sort of like a goat with it, but I guess that, now that I think about it, I guess the Smelter Demon is supposed to be a Minotaur enemy. But they made the Minotaur into, again, a giant armored guy, like 90% of the other bosses in the game. Okay, now this next area is a big trap. There is a long bridge over a lava pit. There are two turtle guards here. What you want to do, and you pretty much have to do this, again, if you want to avoid those jumps, is to strike the back turtle, the one on the right, with an arrow before he sees you. Because if you go in there without doing that, the front one will move to engage with you, and the back one will begin smashing his weapon down on that floor there of the bridge and trying to destroy it. And he will eventually succeed in destroying a part of the bridge, which means you have to make yet another jump. I could not tell you how enraged I was at that design choice when I saw it. It's one thing, again, to make a hard enemy. Fine, make a hard enemy. You want to make a puzzle, you want to make things confusing, fine, go ahead and do it. But to fucking to stupidly make a gameplay element really, really bad, and then deliberately put an unnecessary extra jump in the level is just unforgivable. Large Titanite shard, very nice. There's just no excuse for that. It's shoddy game design, and I don't like it. Although I will show you I'll wait for that until I get to the other section. Show you the katana and the dull ember. And before I figured out you have to hit the back guy with an arrow, it was slow going in here, and I can't tell you the howl of rage I gave when I tried to jump over this part and failed after spending ages just trying to get here on my first way through. The next area also seems to illustrate how ridiculous this place looks, and also this one too. What was this area before lava was pouring in through everything? And why is it still doing that, and why is everything not destroyed? I mean, shouldn't everything have melted in the magma long ago? This next area just looks like it was designed to be in a weird lava castle. There's a guy with a great bow right behind us that may hit us. This guy has to sneak check open everything, like Murphy Pendleton in Silent Hill Downpour. And if you didn't bring a Pharaoh's Lockstone, I think you can buy one from Magarol de Blannefier. And this next area is another stupid design choice. This episode is just the parade of stupid design choices, isn't it? This is a useless item. It is a lightning ring that gives you some lightning resist. It's pointless. Thunder quartz. Something odd here. Wait a minute. There should be a guy standing right here where I'm putting an arrow. with a great bow. But maybe he... Was that him? Where... I thought he might have leapt to his death or something. No, he's there. He's still there. Okay. We're going to go over here and light this bonfire, but not sit at it. Because we don't want to respawn the enemies in the other area. This bonfire essentially means that you've won. You've made it. You've made it through this other section of the game, the hard part, and you just have the relatively easy part to get through before the tough stuff at the end.